Hello, and welcome to the last episode before pitchers and catchers report. I'm kind of excited. And I remember after the World Series, you said it was like 100 and some odd days until spring training, and it's almost here.
It's almost
Time has
here.
flown by,
Oh.
which it usually doesn't in the winter. So, very excited. And I want to remind you all to like us on Facebook. Have you liked us on Facebook? Well, if you haven't, we're going to break into your house and we're going to steal your Q-tips. Follow us on Twitter. It's okay to stalk us as long as you do it on Twitter. You can contact us through email. Email sounds so old-fashioned now, but I remember one time email, what the heck's that, But our email is onecard1cup1beer@gmail.com. Please subscribe to our page on YouTube if you're one of the people who watches our YouTube channel. Go to the bottom right-hand corner and click on the icon to subscribe. Leave your comments. We love your comments. Communicate with us. Let us know some things that we could do that would be better. Let us know some things that we need to improve on. We would certainly appreciate any feedback. And always, please support us on Patreon. Go to patreon.com and in the search, put one Cardinal, one Cub, and one beer to support our efforts. You can support us for only $3 a month. $3 a month, okay? The way that works, if we have enough people support us at $3 a month, we can do some remotes. And we do have kind of one remote that we are putting together now. That should be something that maybe we can do in a few months. But please support us through Patreon. We really would appreciate your support efforts. And JJ, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Vince. I want to show everybody I got my last ride cup from Vince. It was a birthday gift. I'm very, very proud of that. Very cool. It's got the Wayno and the Pujols and the Yachty walking off the field for the final time. Thank you so much, Vince. That's very nice of you.
Thank you for having a birthday.
Yes, hey, no problem.
You should have one next year too. That would be a lot of fun.
I'm going to try. Well, I was going to do a little thing where I'm going to feature a card in this little segment. And since it's Black History Month and since it's the Super Bowl coming, I thought the best card to show would be the Pat Mahomes card. Yeah. As living here in Missouri, most of the people around here have become Chief fans since the Rams have left. So anyway, I'll show that up close one more time. That's Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback of the Chiefs, his father, and he had an 11-year career, and he played for the Twins, the Mets, the Red Sox, the Pirates, the Rangers, and the Cubs. Finished his career with the Cubs. So anyway, I thought I'd show that card off. I found it, and I thought, oh, what a perfect card to show. The Cardinals today did make a move. They got a reliever named Anthony. Oh my gosh, the last name might be tough for me. Mizowicz. He's a reliever, and he is now on the roster. We got him from the Royals. He pitched a little bit for Seattle last year too. So he's on the roster, and that meant they went ahead and released James Nails, who pitched for us last year off and on. So they went ahead and just gave him his release. So we'll see what this guy can do with spring training coming up and the World Baseball Classic coming up. We're going to be looking at a lot of other players because we have a lot of players that's going to be playing in that World Baseball Classic. Also, I watched a documentary. The Cardinals put it out. It's about 40 minutes long. You can watch it on YouTube, and it's called Chasing 325, and it's the whole Yachty, young video of Yachty on the Cardinals and Wayno on the Cardinals and how they stayed here for so long, and they're talking to different players about how special that is, that two players can have such long careers, stay in the same place, and stay healthy enough to break that record. And they say, every record's made to be broken, but that's going to be a hard one. You're going to have to play a lot of years, a lot of health, and be good for a lot of years to break that 325. I think they finally ended.
Whose record did they break?
They broke Warren Spahn and Dale Cranen. They were Milwaukee Braves.
When you think of stuff like I'm thinking of McCarver and Carlton. I'm thinking of Yogi Berra, Whitey Ford. Um, there are some. It is somehow, I guess, because we're so close to it, it doesn't seem like it was that long they were together. But when I think about other combinations, I think, man, they were together forever. Warren
Yeah.
Spahn, and
Lawrence Spahn.
he pitched
Uh,
for like 25 years.
I think the third place one that's not too far back is Mickey Lolich and Bill Freehand.
Yeah,
They're like 318, I believe. So but that's a while back. Some players, I mean, it's major league career, I think, is average about 5 years. They don't with all the guys that only play 1 or 2 years, then of course you have some guys that play a long, long time, but to have two guys, a pitcher and a catcher. And Yachty came up in I believe it was it 04, and Wayno came up in 06, I believe it was. Yeah, I believe that was the 2 years they came up, and it was Pujols in 01. So that's amazing. And for a catcher to stick around that long, that's something
yeah,
else. So anyway, it's a nice documentary. It's not as good as the ESPN 30 for 30s. Those are very well done. This is nice.
a lot of
It's
money
not,
go into those.
well,
Yeah,
yes, that's true. That is true. They got some top-notch directors working on that. That's just the Cardinal organization made this little video. You get to hear them talk about it. And basically, in 40 minutes, you just hear how much they care for each other and they become brothers. And all the players they played with, a lot of them come back and say some things. So anyway, and Wayno said when he's pitching for the USA, if Yachty's the coach of the Puerto Ricans, he says, Yachty, just let me pitch. Don't be tipping my pitches, because he said he knows everything about me. He knows my facial expressions. He knows how I turn my body, what I'm going to throw. He said, just sit back and relax. Let me pitch. So I think he's thinking Yachty's going to be tipping off his pitches to the batters. We'll see if they get to play each other. This week, I know spring's coming up, but single game tickets went on sale all across the league for the regular season. So you can start looking at the schedule and see who you want to play, what games you want to go to. So that's going to be kind of cool. It's just another sign that the regular season's not that far away. And also, this has been going on for a couple years now, but Nike now makes the jerseys. And Majestic used to make the jerseys for all the teams. Now you see the little swish on the uniforms. And this year, they're only letting teams have 4 uniforms, 2 home and 2 away. Before, I think you could have as many combinations of uniforms as you want. I love the blue classic Cub uniform. That's my favorite, the blue jersey. I absolutely love that one for the Cubs. But they also can have one called a City Connect jersey that they created. And I know we don't have one yet, but you guys have one that says Wrigleyville on it.
yeah, we've been doing that for a few years now.
Do you
On
like
Friday
that? Do you like
games.
that Wrigleyville one?
I do. In fact, for Christmas, Max got a hoodie with the Wrigleyville.
Oh,
Um, the people in Chicago don't seem to like it, but I think it's catching on, because Wrigleyville really isn't a place. I don't know. There's like nobody calls it Wrigleyville, but I think it's kind of cool. I like to watch them pitch on Fridays, and play on Fridays with those on.
I know they got a few different hats too. I kind of like the traditional, either dark blue or the red for the Cardinals. And I love, like I said, that blue Cub jersey with the Cub on the sleeve. That's pretty top-notch uniform right there.
Yeah, I remember growing up, there weren't combinations. You had a road uniform and a home uniform. And then the Pittsburgh Pirates in the late 70s started really mixing and matching their uniforms, and they had about 6 different combinations they would use. And then it didn't really catch on for a few more years, and then finally other teams started doing that. And now, sometimes I'll watch a game and I don't even recognize the uniform anymore. Pulled that one out. Where'd they come from?
Yeah, but
So
the Yankees, the Cubs, the Red Sox, the Cardinals, those have
Philly,
tradition. Yeah,
yeah.
very traditional. But you got sometimes the Padres, I don't know what, they got camouflage.
Yeah.
The new Twins, they got a new emblem, and I'm not big. It's an M with a North Star above it. And I like the TC, the Twin City thing they had going on before. I like that a lot better.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what's going on with uniforms. So Vince, that's me for the Cardinal news right there.
Well, there's not a whole lot to report on the Cub news. They do have some interesting non-roster invitees. These are people who are not on the 40-man roster. And as far as the pitchers go, they have Jordan Holloway, who was a right-handed pitcher for the Marlins last year. He was on our 40-man roster, and then we bumped him, but he is getting an invite as a non-roster player. Mark Leiter Jr. Pitched for us last year right-handed. He had a really good year out of the bullpen. And as I said on a broadcast earlier, he's kind of my dark horse to be one of the late innings guys. When they knocked him off the 40-man roster, I thought someone would pick him up, but they didn't. So he's coming back as a non-roster. Manny Rodriguez, non-roster invitee. He pitched for us last year. He had 4 saves in 14 games, and he pitched pretty good. Anthony Kay, we got him from Toronto, put him on the 40-man, kicked him off the 40-man. He's a left-hander, hard thrower, but he averages 5 walks per 9 innings. No one picked him up, so he's coming back as a non-roster invitee. And Braylon Marquez, who is a left-handed pitcher who has been with the Cubs since 2015 as an international free agent. He's dealt with a lot of injuries. He's 24 years old. We knocked him off the 40-man roster this year, and I guess because of his health issues, nobody was interested. So we're having him back as a non-roster invitee. So those names are kind of interesting. But the really interesting ones are the position players. Coming to spring training will be Sergio Alcantara. He's third base, shortstop, second base. He played for the Cubs in 2021. Last year, he played in Toronto, hit 209. So we are familiar with him. So he's an option and long shot to make the team, but we are a little familiar with him. David Bodie, who's been with the big league team since 2018, is in the last year of a $15 million contract. He has to have the best agent in the world because he had a decent rookie year as a utility infielder, and his agent approached the Cubs and say, "Hey, why don't you give us $15 million for 5 years, and that way you'll have your utility player locked in for 5 years." So he got his money and hasn't done much since. So he was DFA'd or kicked off the 40-man roster, and he's coming back as a non-roster invitee. Matt Mervis is coming back as a non-roster invitee. He's not on the 40-man, and I've talked ad nauseum about him. Pete Crow Armstrong's coming into the big league camp, non-roster invitee. Ben DeLuzio, the outfielder who played a little bit for the Cardinals last year, had 3 hits and 20 at-bats. He's a non-roster invitee for us. And Mike Tauchman, outfielder for 5 years. He has a career .231 batting average. In 2019, he had a really good year for the Yankees. He had right under 300 at-bats, and he hit 13 home runs, drove in 47 runs, hit .277, 361 on-base percentage, and an .865 OPS. But other than that year, he really hasn't done much, but we have him coming into the fold. So we're going to have a very interesting mix coming into spring training. And there are still a few free agents out there. Mike Block is still out there. There's still a few out there that are a little interesting. And I just want to bring this up because it deals with both teams. The Athletic, Jim Bowden put an article in there. It's no secret that Major League Baseball wants to expand to 32 teams. They have 30 now. They have 32 teams. They would have 4 divisions of 4 teams in each league. Okay. So where are these franchises going to be? The best bets are Nashville and Portland. Charlotte's also in the mix, and Montreal is also in the mix. And I think Montreal, with good ownership and a good stadium, baseball would work there. When they had terrible ownership and a terrible stadium, the fans were so rabid there. They kind of got hosed in Montreal. So I think they deserve a team, but they're kind of like the 4th in there. So we know within the next few years, they're going to expand to 32 teams. And Bowden's article said that's going to create, basically, you can eradicate the American League and the National League. You're going to have an Eastern League and a Western League, kind of like NBA basketball and NFL football. 4 divisions in each league, 4 teams in each division. And When Jim Bowden put together his divisions, I'm not going to go through all of them, but he put together a Midwest division. And that division would have the Cubs, the White Sox, the Twins, and the Brewers. And then he put a Southwest division together, which would be the Cardinals, the Astros, the Royals, and the Rangers. I know geographically these make sense. I mean, they're clumped right there together. I mean, the Cardinals and Astros and Rangers are, there's some distance here. But as far as, the Cubs, the Twins, the Brewers, the White Sox, that makes a lot of sense. You cannot separate the Cardinals and the Cubs. You do it. And why he didn't think like this is beyond me. And then I thought, well, his Major League Baseball, does he have, I mean, he's got more insight than I do. Is Major League Baseball to a point where they're saying, damned with the Midwestern rivalry? Yeah, they'd never split up the Yankees and the Red Sox because that's an East Coast thing. But, this Midwest thing, we could split them up. People grumble a little bit, but, that'll be okay. Are they at that point? I hope not.
I hope not too.
Because I don't see a scenario where you separate the Cardinals and the Cubs and you have any kind of a win. He also split up the Dodgers and the Giants. And I know geographically that makes sense. You have the Dodgers, you have the Angels, you have the Diamondbacks and
Padres, maybe Padres.
Yeah, the Padres. And then you have the Giants, the Athletics, the Mariners, and that Portland team. I know geographically it makes sense, but there are three rivalries in baseball you cannot split up. Cardinals and the Cubs, you can't do it. The Yankees and the Red Sox, you can't do it. And you can't do it with the Giants and the Dodgers. And, God help us if this comes to fruition, because it would tick me off to the point I may not watch a few games. I may not spend as much money on stuff. By the way, you like my drinking bottle? Baseball fever, catch it. Remember that?
I love it. Yes, I remember that slogan.
70s, yeah. Baseball fever, catch it. So, but I looked at that and I thought, wow, and I mean, he's being trashed. I mean, fans from, the Giants, the Dodgers, the Cardinals, and the Cubs are just flooding with comments. You can't do this. What's wrong with you? You're an idiot. So on and so. So well, anyway,
I'm a traditionist. I'm a conservative guy. I'm a traditionist. I think baseball sells the history of the game and all the tradition. And I don't like change. I'm very slow to change in everything. And once they even had the replay, I didn't know. I'm okay with the replay now. They've got it where they've kind of worked it out. I do want them to get it right. We've got a lot of changes coming this year. But part of the great thing, since the beginning of time, since right after the Civil War, it's the Cubs and the Cardinals. And I just absolutely love it. It seems like we take our game up a notch when we play the Cubs. We want to win every game, of course. But something about that Cub-Cardinal rivalry and the trades and the players that have played for both teams. And, I just have so many great memories on both sides. It's always, there's been some dust ups over the years. Ted Simmons and Jose Cardinal, I remember that one. But man, you can't mess with that. And I think Oakland will probably end up in Las Vegas, because I thought Las Vegas would be a team, and Oakland, it doesn't look like they're going to get a new stadium. They've been trying for 20 years. I don't want to see a move, but if it's one of those things, they just can't financially make it. Las Vegas might be a good spot for them,
Ever since I was in middle school, because I remember my friend Doug and I sitting there at middle school putting together what we thought was going to be, this during the winter, this is what we think the baseball season is going to look like. And we had Oakland/Denver because there was talk that they were going to move to Denver. And it was going to be a quick move. There's been talk that they moved to San Jose. Now there's talk that they're going to move to Vegas. There's always talk that they're going to move, but they never seem to move.
They've been there a long time.
Yeah, so I'm kind of curious what they're going to do. And I don't know. why not move that stupid team out of Colorado? They don't know what they're doing with baseball. They even when they have players, they find a way to screw things up. Um, the fan base is so fickle. Um, it's like my cousin-in-law, he lives out in Colorado and he only goes to the games when the Cardinals are in town. And that's what it is with a lot of people there. And of course, the people are too stoned to really care about baseball. So, I sometimes I think, move the team to where the atmosphere is normal, and you don't have to put balls in humidors, and you don't have a power alley that's 800 feet long, and don't have to have these discussions. Does Todd Helton belong in the Hall of Fame because he played in Colorado, like it was his fault. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, I am a traditionalist. I don't mind four-team divisions. I don't. It makes a lot of sense, and the other two leagues do it. And I don't mind a few teams crossing, the leagues, but you
Right.
still need to call one the American League, one the National League, and keep some sense of traditional, some sense of the tradition in there, because we really are the only sport that relies so heavily on our tradition. It's ingrained in the sport. You Football's constantly changing the rules. I remember, one time, you could basically take a club and beat the heck out of the quarterback and nobody cared. And now you can't sneeze on him, oh, flag, you may have given him COVID, that's a $55 million guy there. You can't do that. Nobody cares a whole lot about the records in football because the rules constantly change and it's always moving towards the offense. So things are always going to get. The thing about baseball has been the consistency. And, there are different eras and it's very difficult to compare different eras. But for the most part, the basics have been the same. And I would like to see them retain. This is the National League. This is the American League. Swap a few teams if you need to. We've done that before with the Astros. We've done it with the Brewers. It's not unprecedented, but don't don't just blow it up and put it back together with some goofy things like the Cubs and the Cardinals in different divisions.
Yes. I think the Midwest, this is going to sound silly to some people, but I do think there's a bias. All the media is on the East and the West Coast, and they kind of just overlook us. We really have to have something stand out for them to pay close attention. Now, they do respect the two organizations, but if there's a chance to get a game of the week on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, it's usually going to be the Yankees or the Red Sox or the Dodgers or the Padres, teams like that. What would you think of White Sox, Cubs, Cardinals, Royals? That might be a pretty good with a little area there. That'd be fun.
I'd like that.
I'm telling you that those White Sox Cub games would be wild.
Oh yeah, yeah, yes they would. I went to a conference when I was in my 20s. It was a national conference, and they divided us by region, and I was in the Great Lakes region. Uh, I told one guy, I said, I've never seen the Great Lakes. I've seen them since, but at that time, I've never seen the Great Lakes. Why am I in the Great Lakes region? I live in St. Louis. I'm more identify with more
Yeah,
Southern. So
that's right.
joining us in the studio, like we have a studio, joining us from his looks like your nerd cave. Is that like your man cave?
No, this is my work office actually.
Oh, really? So I didn't know
Yeah.
you were a professional nerd. That's great. Joining us is Jeffery Phipps, and we're gonna sit down and talk with Jeffery for a little bit. JJ and I know Jeffery through comedy. He's a very good St. Louis comedian. But we're not here to talk about comedy. We're here to talk about baseball. So we're going to ask you, Jeffery, before we really jump into the meat, tell us, how did you become a baseball fan, specifically a Cardinal fan?
Well, baseball fandom just started when I was a kid. My dad played high school ball. One of the guys that he played ball with ended up playing for the Detroit Tigers. My dad was a big from Michigan, big Detroit Tiger fan. Saw Nolan Ryan throw a no hitter there, so
Man,
pretty
cool.
impressive feat to see in person. and they started taking me to games ever since I was a little kid. I loved cheering in the crowd. I loved being loud. People would move away from me. I was screaming so loud, which was always fun at the old Bush Stadium. On like a Tuesday game when there was nobody in the upper bowl, and this guy would just get up and walk away. From there, uh, went to the military, came back, went to school. I had planned on studying computer science and mass communications, which is a twofer. Graduated with a degree in math, so kind of give you where I ended up. But they have a local station. I went to Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville, SIUE. Go
Yay.
Cougars! And they had a local station, 88.7 WSIE. And one of the guys I worked with at Toys R Us said, "Oh, that's where I work. You know, they'll hire anybody." And so I walked in, got interviewed in the news department, and got the job. I did afternoon drive on the radio, so I come on and give afternoon news updates and stuff like that. Learned how to pronounce all the city streets in St. Louis. After the first time I pronounced it Gravois, and somebody called me and yelled at my boss, and then he yelled at me. And so when the season rolled around, he asked two or three of us if we wanted press credentials. I got press credentials. So I attended out of the 82 games, I want to say I attended about 50 of them or so.
Oh man, that's great.
Okay. And tell everybody which magical season you did this in.
I covered the 1998 Mark McGwire home run season.
Wow. Now, I imagine you started at the in the spring, going to the early games.
Yeah.
And you covered throughout the season.
Mhm.
About when did you realize that you may be covering something special?
About when everybody else did, right around June, July, when he was, I think, what did he hit 30 by? I was looking at this before I jumped on with you guys. He had 30 home runs like right after Flag Day or something like that. Something insane, like 20, 25 home runs. He had hit 50 the two previous years. So he was on, people figured, if you hit a third year of 50 home runs, that's historic in itself. But then he just kept hitting them. And if you look up the home runs by at bat, Barry Bonds on his season was hitting them, in his 73 season, hit him about every 10 at bats. Mark McGwire was hitting at an 11 bat at pace. So you're talking like every third game, which, he's hitting a home run. So people really started to pay attention to that. He just, you just never knew when he was going to do it. So, yeah, right around. So June, July is when it got serious. And in September, you couldn't interview the Cardinal players individually. You couldn't go to the dugout. There was they set up a backdrop. They put out a bench. If a player did well that night, they would bring him out. So it was LaRussa, Mark, every game, and whoever did well that game, would be it the pitcher, the hitter, or whatever, and you plugged in your tape recorder into that box, and you just got the feed from there. You could, like you were part of the press. Like it literally became like the White House press pool. And so then he's not answering questions from Jeff from WSIE 88.7. He's answering questions from, Trey Wingo, who was in, from ESPN, who'd come down when he lived in St. Louis for a while. And then he was, like they brought back people. It was just, it's crazy. It became a circus is the easiest way to describe it.
Man. By the way, Jeff, love the hoodie. Great hoodie right there. A 10 out of a 10 on that one.
I got this for Christmas for my girlfriend, and I love.
You must keep her then.
I want a victory blue one, really bad. I can't see this one.
But well, before that date, was you watching the games up? Were you able to go up in the press box with all the press?
So I'll tell you how a typical day is, because I think I don't know how many reporters you've actually spoke to, either one of you before, but I'll tell you like what it used to be like in the late 90s. Okay, so I got press credentials. I had a badge, had my name on it, and you would go into the this is the old Bush Stadium, right? And the thing was still on Clark Street. You go in, and there'd be a separate entrance. They're still there. It's over on third base side right next to the entrance there. You can see that separate entrance right off to the side. So you have
Okay.
home plate, third base, and it's right up to the side there, and you can just walk right in. You show your credentials, you take an elevator up, and you go to the press room. Press room was older then. It had metal bars, and they would hand you these notes that the team constructed and the visiting team gave you. I wish I would have saved one. I would have shown you. I probably have some somewhere, but it was just like, here's the hot streaks, here's the cold streaks, here's our pattern, here's our lineup for the night, here's a scorecard to keep the score, and then you would get one from, let's say, the Expos or whatever team was in town that night for that weekend, and you'd have the lineup, it'd be good to go, so you could keep score right then and there. Because I learned to keep score as a kid. My dad knew how to do it, and then he taught me, and then whenever I used to go to a game up until after this season, I don't keep score anymore. It wasn't fun; it was a job. Uh, I used to keep score, and then they have a amazing food spread, and it was $5, and it was all you could eat, and drinks were included. So that's why you'd see Mike Shannon get loaded. He'd come out of the thing, he'd walk right over, pour himself a beer, walk right back in, and then there would be like, you know, your different reporters from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch would be there. You'd see like a local Channel 5, Channel 4 guy there. And then sometimes you'd see somebody, and then Major League Baseball also had somebody covering the games as well. And then you would hear the official score would be right down in front, so like you could poke his brain or pick his brain, or they'd make adjustments. If something became a sacrifice fly or infield ground or whatever change they would make, they'd announce it over the intercom. So it'd be like, that's a hit, and then it'd show up on the scoreboard for the fans to see it. But that's when you'd see it. So just kind of, and then after the game, you would take the elevator down, that same elevator, but then it would take you into the dugout, and they would fork, and you go to the visitor dugout or you go to the Cardinal dugout. You go to the Cardinal dugout, the guys, you'd be waiting for them to come out of the showers, just like you see in the movies. And so then you'd hit them up. And at first you could talk to Mark. And then I remember a few times he'd get grumpy. There was one night where he hit a home run, but Ray Langford had an amazing catch and had like 3 RBIs. I don't remember what game that was, but he's like, "Why are you talking to me?" He's like, "Go talk to Ray Langford, leave me alone." He was already getting grouchy. And then after you talk to that, LaRussa would signal, and you go into LaRussa's office, and there'd be 10, 15 people there, all with their mics in their face, just like, again, so much like the movies, it's not even funny. And you would just get sound, and he would, usually like Bernie Miklasz would ask him a question, like, "Hey, tough game last night," some like a prompt, and then he'd just go on a spiel. And I don't know, Vincent and JJ, I know you've probably seen a lot of LaRussa press conferences,
Oh
but
yes.
Vincent, if you've never seen a LaRussa press conference,
I've
there's
seen
something,
plenty.
yeah, there's something else. And he would just sit there and not give you an answer, but give you an answer. He's a master of diplomacy, but at the same time, you could tell when he was like upset or mad or something. And so then I'd catch the Metrolink back because I used to take the Metrolink over. I don't know if I would have done that anymore, but I'd take the Metrolink back, and I would go to the studio, and I would cut the tape, and I would put so basically you cut the tape up like little tape, not like cutting it, but like you'd use a soundboard, and you would edit the sounds onto a different tape, and then you put a recording leader. It was like, "Cardinals lost last night, 4-2. Here's Mark McGwire talking about his solo home run," and it would just sound like that, or here's Matt Morris talking about striking out 10, Cardinals winning 3-1, that kind of thing. And so you just get those sound bites, you cut them up, and then we would make 3 or 4 tapes that they would play the next day. So like in the morning drive, it'd be like, "Here's Jeff with sports," boom, and it would be played, and then they'd erase the tapes the next day, and that was it. That was the summer. And like I said, towards the end of the year, it wasn't as much. It was nowhere near as much fun it was at the beginning of the year, because you were just you couldn't access the players. Really, you didn't want to do sound at the visiting players because there'd be no point. Everything was laser focused on this home run chase. Mark McGwire's grouchy. Tony La Russa's grouchy. The Cardinals were in third place. They had a dismal year. So, an abysmal year. They just did terrible. and finished third. Mediocre season, but man, those home runs were just. I remember I cheered for one of them, and the whole press group just turned and looked at me. I think it was like a grand slam or something. I was just like, "Yeah," and they were like, "You're
Oh,
this isn't the place for fans. You go somewhere else if you want to cheer this, you know." And I was like,
Let me. We were talking the other day about LaRussa's press conferences and how salty he could be, and
"Yeah,
there's a few good videos on YouTube with him and Mick getting into it. They're just a lot of fun. So when you had access to them before the home run chase really, started heating up, when you had access to all the players, who are some of the players that you found very accommodating, even if they had a tough day, they were just classy people.
Ray Langford was a good one. The pitchers were usually pretty good. The pitchers knew the game, and they only pitched, once every 5 games, and as long as they did okay, they were approachable. Mark just wasn't. Um, it was Brian Jordan on the team then? So I remember him being.
I think he
I
was.
thought he was pretty. The outfielders were really good. I remember one time I went over and spoke to Andres Galarraga, and I got a really good interview with him when he was playing for the Rockies after he'd done his time and went back to the Rockies that season. So I talked to him, had a really good chat with him. I think because he thought I was Mexican. He's like we're a team, and as a comic I joke about that a lot, but I get that a lot from Hispanic people. It's just like, oh, you're one of us, and it's like so he was much more accommodating. I really didn't like. Usually, I would just kind of follow the pool because I was still new and I didn't know if I really wanted to do it. And I guess at the end of the day, I guess I didn't because I didn't. I did have press credentials for the '99 season, and I went to like 10 games, and I was just like, I don't care if I ever do this again. It was just kind of one of those things. Like I can say I did it now, and I liked doing it at the time. Cutting tape. Like if you could see the process, you'd understand it because you just literally had like these. You'd have a tape, you plug it in, and then you'd have like these 8 tracks basically, and you were like queuing up sound to like the exact second. Where now it's like a digital file. You just cut it, move it over. Editing is so much different than it was then. Like you were physically cutting with pasting and playing and recording at the same time, and that got frustrating. And then if you messed it up, I did an interview with uh, somebody famous, like really famous, who was part of the civil rights music, and for some reason the tape didn't record. And my boss was just devastated because he's like, go get this interview, and I did. And then I like had a personal interview with this guy, him questions, asking about the civil rights movement, all this stuff. Went back, no tape, no sound. I was just like, I can't do this. Like I can't. I can't do this at all. This is driving me nuts.
Now you said as a kid you loved the game and followed it and loved the
Yeah,
Cardinals and who was your favorite player as a kid? I was going to follow it up with another question. So now you're doing it as a job and
yeah.
it just isn't quite the same. Have you come back to falling back in love with the game and enjoying
Oh
it?
yeah. Yeah, it took the playoff runs really helped. The '06 season, man, that was such a great season. And I had the same I don't know if you guys are ever going to do a hockey podcast, but if you do, I'll be there for that one. Uh, you fall out of love when you continue to see them lose in the playoffs like the Blues did for all those years. And it was the same thing with the Cardinals. Like, you're just like you're just one piece short or something. It's like, God, why is your middle relief so bad? That kind of thing. Why are you blowing games? And the '06 season, man, I just really bought back in, and I've just been, we go to about 2 or 3 games a year. We like to go to Champions Club, really. Really,
Oh,
we just like to
nice.
drink at the ball. So that's let's just be honest. I enjoy, a buffet and an open bar at the ball game. But I did watch probably about 20, 25 games and went to about 4 or 5. So I was well aware of the season, watched the playoff games. And that was a tough one this year, but
It
they,
happens.
the Phillies went to but you want the team that beats you to go as far as they can. So at least you say you didn't lose to
Yeah, it
lose to
doesn't
some
hurt. It
scrubs.
doesn't hurt as bad
Right,
when they go all the way. You're going, okay, they were just on a roll.
right.
Now, wait a minute. Are you two going to tell me and Max that in 2015 you wanted the Cubs to win the World Series after we beat you in the playoffs?
No, nobody.
No, I can't
Okay.
say that. That doesn't apply to the Cubs or the Mets. Otherwise, everybody else, okay.
That's pond scum.
Yes, he knows.
Yeah. I remember they used to, you remember they used to sell those shirts down by the stadium?
I think J.C.
Yeah.
Corcoran first time I
Yeah.
ever heard that, he said that, and then it caught on like wildfire after
Yeah.
that.
Well,
Yeah.
when Mookie Thompson, or not Mookie Wilson called it a cow town, and then they'd bring the
Oh,
cowbells. Do
yeah.
you remember all that?
Yeah, Jeff Leonard. I think he said that
Yeah.
too when he was with the
Jeffrey
Giants.
Leonard, yeah.
Yeah, he'd
87.
have one flap down, you
Right.
know, stuff like that. Oh yeah, and then they brought out them cowbells. That was great.
Yeah.
Very good, very good.
Yeah. See, I paid attention as a kid. No, so favorite players as a kid growing up, Keith Hernandez, Willie McGee,
Everybody loves Willie. He's
loved
great.
Vince Coleman. I loved Whitey Ball up until Whitey quit. And
Yeah.
I've never forgiven Whitey for quitting on the Cardinals. I just never have. But it's not. They stopped spending money. They're clearly trying to sell the team, which they did.
Augie passed away.
Yeah, and so it just they brought in Joe Torre, and at first it was like, oh God, and then he did all right. And I don't know whatever happened to him. I don't know did Joe Torre ever manage again or anything? Did anybody ever catch what he did?
I think he's selling concessions at Orioles games or something like that. I don't.
Probably. Ironically, my son is a huge Yankees fan, and I try not to hold that against him. But we get MLB TV every year just so he can watch Yankees games. So
You're a good dad.
I try.
Well, Jeffrey, we do want to thank you for your time and thank you for sharing your memories. And do you have any engagements coming up comedy-wise that you'd like to plug?
I got a special engagement this Saturday, but it's a private engagement, so that'll be my next paid gig. Other than that, I'm just I've been hanging out at Helium a lot, trying to get. I hosted the open mic last week. I'm trying to get back in the rotation there. People say they're going to book me on shows.
Yeah.
And sometimes they do.
One out of 10 times, yeah, it happens. Yeah. I'm gonna book you sometime.
Yeah, I'll get right on that. I did host, so I do want to brag a little bit. I did host an event for Central VPA a couple weeks ago. That's where the school shooting happened in October. I taught there for 12 years, 13 years. And so I put a fundraiser on. Will O'Donnell was the headliner, and we made over $2,000. So there's my comedy win of the. I'll take that for a while. I'll coast on that for quite a little bit.
I would rather do a fundraiser than anything else. Fundraisers are just you feel like there's a purpose. I mean, there's always a purpose to make people laugh in comedy.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm just making people laugh and they're paying me, okay, it's a job. But when you are actually donating your talents to raise funds or awareness or something like that, that's when I get a lot more satisfaction out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's my comment. I put the show together. We held it at the Zach Theater over off of Olive, and we sold 80 tickets. We made good money. The comics had great sets. We had Chad Wallace, we had Will O'Donnell, we had Molly Ambergris, we had Emily Zell, and we had Jeremy Hellwig, and all five of them just killed, and it was a great night. And so we raised a lot of money for Central, cut the check directly to Central. Silent auction money went directly to Central. I didn't keep a dime of it. I have all the paperwork in this bag here in case anybody wants to audit me on where the money went. But I assure you that nobody besides the school made the money. So that's my victory. And then we'll see where it goes from here. I'm sure things will come up. I'm not booked constantly, but I get enough to keep me busy. And I don't know if I want to work every weekend, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's a grind. Well, thank you for your time.
Thanks,
and
Jeff.
Thanks for having me.
Memories, and we will have you on again sometime. Okay.
I'd be happy to talk baseball. I've been around. I've been a fan for a long time. So yeah, and if I would be down to do the trivia sometime. So let me know, and we'll see how I do. I don't know how good my memory is, but I'd love to. I'd love to try and answer some.
Well, we're gonna see how good our memory is. Max has put together 25 questions, and we're gonna look stupid really quick here.
That's true.
Well, thank you,
Okay.
Jeff. You
Yeah.
have a great day.
Thanks,
Well,
Jeff.
thank you guys. Thank you for having me. Have a good night.
All right. We are now going to do trivia. And if you're listening to this on a podcast, after the question is asked, you can pause and see how you do. Or if you're watching on YouTube, you can pause it, see how you do against me and JJ. Max is our trivia master. Max, tell us how this works.
Alrighty, this is just going to be Jeopardy style trivia. I think the one rule we are going to do is you can't do 2 Cub or 2 Cardinal questions back to back. This way, people are doing an equal share of both. But otherwise, we'll just go back and forth. And if one person gets one question wrong, another person can try and answer it. And I'll give hints as needed. But yeah, I think that's going to be the trivia rules.
All right, JJ, you want to go first?
Well, I tell you what, you're younger. I hand it over to you first.
Okay, I will take Cubs pitching for 100.
Alrighty. Who is the Cubs' all-time leader in strikeouts? This one's pretty easy.
Yep, he's the man right over my shoulder, Mr. Ferguson Jenkins.
Yep, correct.
Oh, even a picture. Look at that. Very
Yeah,
nice.
our production budget has gone up, so
Man, look
Wow.
out.
very fancy.
Fergie.
Okay, now do I ask again?
We'll just go back and forth. So JJ, if you want to take one now.
All right, I will take Cards hitting for 100.
Oh
That's
wait,
Cubs.
yeah, my bad.
Okay.
All right, here we go. This player is the only player in Major League history to hit 2 grand slams in the same inning.
Fernando Tatis against the
Yep,
Dodgers.
Fernando Tatis Sr. Yep,
Yes.
Chan-Ho Park, same
There
pitcher.
What's the chances of that?
I watched that game. I watched. Remember our house in Collinsville? How the upstairs had no air conditioning? Yeah, I watched it up
Yep.
there in Splendid. Yeah. Okay, we'll go Cubs hitting for 100.
Righty, this former Cub has the most career hit by pitches of any active player. Former Cub is the key word here.
I'm going to say it's Anthony Rizzo.
Yep.
Yes.
Very good. There he is getting hit. Look at that. That is
Mhm.
that's technology right there.
He has a real shot of finishing number 1 all time if he plays about 6 or 7 more seasons. He'll definitely get there. It's at like 200 right now.
All right, I will go ahead and get this row going here. We'll do Cardinals pitching for 100.
Right, this is the only Cardinal to throw a no-hitter at Busch Stadium.
Ooh, the only Cardinal to throw a no-hitter at Busch Stadium.
He's done it twice. Also,
I'm going to say a good guy started out as an outfielder, Mr. Bob Forsch.
Yep, Bob Forsch.
There he is at the World Series.
Maybe these are too easy.
Well, that's only the $100 ones there.
Mm-hmm.
I will do wild card for 300.
Oh, look at this guy.
Oh, this is a good one. The Major League Comeback Player of the Year award was originally presented by blank.
Gillette.
No. JJ, do you want to take a stab at this?
I will take a stab at it. Comeback Player of the Year was by ibuprofen.
No. I'll give you guys a hint. This is a male health product marketed for people with incontinence. I don't know if that's the word for it.
Milk a mag?
No. I'll just go ahead and show you. It was presented by Viagra. I don't know. Incontinence is ping. Never mind. But yeah, it was originally presented by Viagra.
Oh, I'll be darned. I did not know that.
I did not know that either.
I didn't know it either.
I thought it was an
Yeah.
older award. I didn't know it was a newer award.
That's probably just Viagra decided to sponsor an old award at one time. So, wow, that's interesting. All right,
Oh,
JJ, it's your turn.
I will do. I'm going to throw you off here. I'm going to do Cubs pitching for 300. How about that, huh?
Ooh, I don't know if you're gonna get this. Name 2 of the 4 pitchers through the first combined no-hitter in Cubs franchise history. This happened in the 2021 season, and my hint to you is that only one of these players remained on the team after the trade deadline.
Drew Smiley. And
No, that's not one of them.
all right, well then I'm out. Then I don't. Yeah, I missed it. Oh, Vincent smiling.
No,
One starter, 3 relievers.
it was the 21 season,
21 season against the Dodgers.
and I think it was a blowout, so it wouldn't have been a closer. The pitch there. I'm gonna go with it's probably not right, but Hendricks and Alzolay.
No, it was Zach Davies, Andrew Chafin, Ryan Tepera, and Craig Kimbrell.
Ah,
None of whom were on the team the next season.
I'll be
Yeah.
darned. I'll be darned.
They walked 7 batters, and it was basically none of the relievers knew it was a no-hitter until the final out. It's a very strange game.
Great question. I didn't know it, but great question.
all right. I'm going to do I'm going to do wild card for 200.
This is kind of a freebie. Multiple major league players have admitted to peeing on their hands. Name one of them.
Moises Alou.
Yep.
Do we get a picture of
the
a
3 I have here are Moises Alou, Kerry Wood, and Jorge Posada, but I'm sure there's more.
That was a good choice of a picture there. I thought we were going to see something else for a second. That's who I was going to say, Moises Alou, too. That was one I knew that did that. All right, I'm going to do Cardinals hitting for 200.
Where is it? There it is. All right, this player led the Cardinals in hits from 1977 to 1979.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I got 2 choices in there. I'm going to say Gary Templeton.
Yep, Gary Templeton. He's also the first switch hitter to have 100 hits from both sides of the plate.
All
this
right,
time frame.
Gary.
Okay, I will do Cubs pitching for 200.
All right, who was the last Cub to win an ERA title?
Kyle Hendricks.
Yep, Kyle Hendricks in 2016.
Well, look at those fingers on that pitch. That was, I don't know what he was throwing there. Oh, I will take Cardinals pitching for 200.
This is a very similar question. Who was the last Cardinal to win an ERA title?
Win an ERA. All right. He did, but there's got to
Wow.
be somebody since then. I don't think it's anybody recently.
It's been a little bit, but I'm aware of this player. He played when I was cognizant, I guess. I'll say he's vastly underrated, I think, by the majority of baseball. He had a very good career.
well,
He was a very important piece in a lot of championship teams. I mean, just a great guy.
Well, that's a tough one right there. I know there was one. And, my gosh, that is a tough one. John Tudor?
No, not that far back.
Okay. All right. I didn't get that one then.
I'll go with Chris Carpenter.
It was Chris Carpenter.
Oh, I'm going to get such shame for that one. Oh.
Okay, I got a Cardinal question right.
Hey, congratulations.
Yeah.
Let's go wild card for 100.
This is a good one. This spring training legend made appearances for 10 different baseball clubs in one day. They were traded for 2 hot dogs at one point.
I have no idea, but this is an awesome question.
That is a good question. Can
AJ, do you know it?
Will Ferrell.
Yep, it's Will Ferrell.
Oh,
It was for
I
charity.
Yep. Here
Like
he's
he's
on
in
the Cubs.
Yeah, he's on the Cubs there. All right. I'm going to take Cubs hitting for 200.
Ooh, this Cub has the most hits and most managerial wins in franchise history.
I'm going to say Cap Anson.
Yep, Cap Anson.
Cap Anson. All right. Dashing, like the mustache.
I'll do Cubs hitting for 300.
All right, there's only one left-handed Cub hitter to ever hit more than 40 home runs in a season. Who is this Cubs hitter?
Left-hander with more than 40 home runs. He's 36, I think. Power hitting left-hander. Where are the Cubs?
There's only been one season where this has happened. I think he hit 42.
Henry Rodriguez.
No.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint. He's in the Hall of Fame.
I don't know my righties from my lefties.
Oh,
I don't know my
yeah.
righties from my lefties. Billy Williams.
Billy Williams.
Yeah.
You got it.
Sweet swinging Billy.
I was thinking third baseman. Then I remembered one year Rodriguez had a ton of home runs because him and Sammy together combined for almost 100. And
Oh my! I will take Cardinals hitting for 300.
Ooh, this Cardinals hitter smashed 5 home runs in a doubleheader and induced a 410-foot flyout caught by Willie Mays, all on the same day.
I'm going to say Stan the Man Musial.
Yep, Stan Musial.
There he is. Mr. Cardinal right there. Very good picture.
all right, I'm going to try to catch JJ with Cubs hitting for 500.
He's going all out here. Hail Mary.
Finish the sentence. Tinker to Evers to blank.
Chance.
There you go. And all 3 Hall of Famers.
There they are.
Apparently, they didn't like each other too much, but they played good baseball.
They look like nice guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take Cardinals pitching for 300.
This pitcher won 30 games. I think he's the last pitcher to ever win 30 games, and he won an MVP, and led the Gas House Gang to a World Series title.
Dizzy Dean.
Dizzy Dean. Yep.
There he is. Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to go Cubs pitching for 500.
Who is the pitcher in Cubs history who has the most career home runs?
Oh, man.
It's going to be someone who pitched a long time.
Maybe.
I know Russell was a really good hitter, but I don't know if he hit a lot of home runs. And I know Zambrano was a really good hitter, and he had some power. And I don't know. I'm going to say Zambrano.
Yeah, you're right.
Very good. Oh, man, that was a great. Yeah.
He hit 24, by the way, in his major league career.
He was scary at that. He was scary. He was scary to run into on the street. He's a scary dude.
Big guy.
I seen him in spring training when he just went to the Marlins, and he used to throw long toss. He could throw it almost all the way from the sideline to deep center field. Pretty impressive. I'm going to take wild card for 400.
This is a tough one. I don't know if you guys are gonna know this one. This Japanese baseball player has hit 868 career home runs in the MPB.
I'm going to say Sarharo.
Wow, yeah, you got him. That's him
There
and
it is.
Hank Aaron.
Yeah, him and Hammer and Hank. How about that?
I'm going to do wild card for 500.
Oh,
Ooh, this is a good one. 2 players have played at least 1 game for every NL Central team. Name one of them.
Okay. Is okay. Give me a moment to think on this.
This does not include the Houston Astros. I'll add. This is our current 5-team division.
okay.
Okay. Um, Is it at home?
Oh my gosh.
You know, I can't think of anybody that fits that criteria. So I
hadn't heard of either of these players.
okay, well, good.
You guys might have, though. I'm not sure.
It's a great question.
Mm.
I can't think of no one though.
Just guess random player.
I can't think of someone who's right now. I can't even think of anyone who's played for the Cubs and the Cardinals. Ryan Terrio.
Contreras.
Yeah, but he hasn't. Ryan Terrio, but I don't think he played for all the teams. So that's
no, he didn't.
I was going to think of a bullpen guy. You know, they usually last a long time and sometimes go unnoticed, but I couldn't think of a single bullpen guy that pitched for 3 of the 5 teams.
My first guess would be like, I don't know, Edwin Jackson, who just pitched forever for like 30 different teams.
Yes.
Somehow he's not one of these players.
Oh.
All right, I don't think either of you are going to get this.
No.
It was Cesar Izturis and Ted Savage. They're the
Ted Savage. We just talked about him. I didn't realize he played for everybody. I'll be darned. And I think Izturis was a shortstop. I think.
Yeah, he played. Yeah. Was it last year, 2 years ago for the Cubs? I played. He was there for a while.
Carrying bags. All right. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to take Cardinals pitching for 400.
Ooh, which year did Bob Gibson set the single season ERA record?
1968.
1968. And maybe these were too easy.
No. Some of them I haven't. I'm just taking guesses on some. That one I did happen to know. Oh yeah, a 1.18, I believe it was that year.
1.12.
Oh, okay.
I've seen both. Something weird with how Baseball Reference has it, but absolutely dominant season. He led the league in strikeouts and strikeouts per 9. Just absolutely crazy.
They lowered the mound after that too.
I don't think we'll ever see a pitching season like that again.
He was just lucky. His whole career was just lucky. What are you talking about? All right, I'll do Cubs hitting for 400.
Ooh, this Cubs batter first home run of the 2022 season off of Corbin Burns.
That's your favorite player, Nico Horner.
Nico Horner, yep.
I would have never got that one. Very good.
Oh, we didn't get to see the picture of him. And there he is in his all his majesty.
It's like he's dancing.
Dancing with the Stars. All right, I'm going to take Cardinals hitting for 400.
Ooh, this Cardinals hitter hit 0 seasons during the 1987 season, yet still finished second in MVP voting.
87. Oh, that would be Ozzie Smith.
Yep.
To Andre Dawson. Doing the flip. All right. Yeah, to Andre. That's the year Andre Dawson won the MVP and deserved it.
I'm going to do Cards hitting for 500.
Whoa, look at it. This.
Let's see if you can get this. Name 2 of the 4 hitters went back to back to back to back off of Kyle Gibson this past season.
Oh, Goldschmidt and Ariado.
You got one of them. You got Arenado. Goldschmidt was not a part of this.
Okay.
Nolan Gorman
Yep, that's one of them.
and Dylan Carlson. Was it Dylan?
Yep. Can you guys name the last person?
Was it perhaps Paul DeYoung?
No, it was Juan Yepes, but you did get two of them.
All right.
Funny enough, I remember exactly where I was. I would actually watch this game live. I was at a Dewey's in Kirkwood. They had the game on the TV, and I was watching it as I love baseball, and just back to back to back to back.
I couldn't believe it. I've barely seen the Cardinals go 3 home runs consecutively. I've never seen 4 before by the Cardinals. Yeah, that was something else.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to take Cardinals pitching for 500.
I'm officially knocked out of this now.
Yeah. In 2021, this pitcher hit the only home run by a Cardinals pitcher that season.
2021.
Yep.
The last year before the DH. Who would have done that? Oh man, wasn't Flaherty, didn't play enough. I would have thought Adam Wainwright's a pretty good hitter. I'm gonna say Adam Wainwright.
No.
You can
See, I didn't think it was this guy because he was injured. I think a decent amount of it. It might have been, or was. I'm not sure actually. I'm not gonna say anything else.
I'll say Michaelis.
No, it was actually Jack Flaherty.
Jack Flaherty.
Yep, his first and only career home run so far.
Wow, I didn't get that. I didn't remember that one.
Okay, I will polish off the board with Cubs pitching for 400.
Who is the Cubs' all-time leader in saves?
Lee Smith.
Yep, Lee Smith.
Lee Smith, yeah. The great Lee Smith.
Well, JJ, I would like to say great game, but I am a poor loser. So, man, I am steaming.
I tell you what, I loved it. There were some very tough questions on there, some that made me think. And I'm telling you what, Max, you did a great job. I love the board. And Vince, way to bring it up. And the pictures, I was blown away. That was really cool.
We'll do this again.
I love it.
I had a lot of fun. It's fun to come up with all the trivia questions.
And maybe next time we do this, if Jeff's a good boy, we'll let Jeff join in. So.
Heck yeah, that's right.
All right. Well, Max, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Max.
And we will see you in a couple of weeks when you and Brody will break down high A and low A minor league baseball.
Yep. And I think that'll be when spring training starts up. I think the first game for the Cubs is the 25th, so maybe we'll have some more stuff to talk about. Maybe we won't. I'm not sure. We'll find out.
All righty. Well, take it easy.
Thanks, Max.
Yep. You guys have a good night.
All right. Okay. Well, that's that segment. And now we're going to jump around to opening up our baseball card.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of editing here. So.
Oh, yeah. This has been power-packed episode tonight. Well, I actually, mine is sponsored. My buddy Thomas Shea brought me down a pack of cards, 2020 tops. There he is with Bryce Harper on the front. So I'll be opening those tonight.
Wow. Well, I have 2021 Topps Heritage with this cartoon man who is pulling a baseball out of his ear, which is really cool.
The old baseball of the year trick. Yes. Let's see here. I'm getting all my cards in the same direction. That's always what a must. You want to go first, Vince?
No.
Oh, you're over it. Okay, I will go first. I have a Minnesota. Ooh, what year is this? 2020? Yeah, these are nice picture cards. First one, Minnesota Twin, Rich Hill. There he is.
Ooh.
Rich Hill. He kind of bounces around with a lot of teams.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's been pitching since 1974.
That's right. Oh, this must be. It's got some small. It says home run glory. This is a throwback card of Eric the Red. Eric Davis. Yes. Yeah. When I think of him, of course, I always think of the Reds, but he did play for the Cardinals a little bit. Oh, this guy, I like him. He was in our bullpen for a while, but he's made his big name out there with the Dodgers. Joe Kelly.
Ah,
Joe
I
Kelly.
love Joe Kelly. I used to call him the accountant, because he had the glasses on.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
His bobblehead is him standing for the national anthem, and he would wait until all the other team went in, and him and another guy played chicken one time, and the umpires got mad and yelled at both of the guys. So, here you go. Chicago Cub great, Javi Baez. That's right.
Hey!
Yeah, there he is, about to club a ball there.
Or strikeout.
Yes. This is Kansas City Royal, Mike Montgomery. There's a Royal player.
Good career.
Yes, very nice career. I tell you
Closed
what.
out Game 7 of the World Series for the Cubs.
This is Oakland A. We were talking about the A's Cepedis from the A's. Right there. Looks like the home run derby in the All-Star game. He's got a special jersey on right there. And let's see. Oh, a 1960s decade best. They had a decade's best of the 60s. Roberto Clemente. Right there. Yeah, very good. I like those
Nice
vests.
card.
Yeah, those vest jerseys they used to have, those guys. This is a unique one, a special card. Bo Bichette, who just signed a contract today, an extension with the Blue Jays. So there he is. I tell you what, that's a pretty good organization, and they could be. Last year the Atlanta Brave Kyle Wright. There he is, coming off the mound. We have back when he was with the Nationals, Max Scherzer.
There you go.
There you go, Max. And this guy just signed with Kansas City Royals, Chapman.
Yeah.
Reliever. Yeah, big part of that Cub World Series year. And the last one I have, this guy was with the Rangers when we won the World Series in 2011. Let me get that right there. Derek Holland. And there he is with the Pirates.
A little bit. Yeah. He's had a long career.
He's had a nice, he's been around a while. And that's my pack, Vince.
Okay, well, I've got the 2021 Topps Heritage. It's an expanded pack, so I've got a few more cards.
Very good. Very good.
Oh, former Cardinal, now with the Nationals, Lane Thomas.
Oh, yes. They thought he was like our fourth outfielder.
Yeah. Oh, and look at this guy. Fernando Tatis Jr. I don't know what happened to him. He's just suddenly gone. What happened to him? I don't know.
It looks like the 1971 cards. Very nice.
And this player has become a rich person after spending 1 year with the Mets. Chris Bassett.
Oh, yes.
I think he's with the Jays now. Jays, is that who he signed with?
He was with the Mets. I'm not sure who we went to.
Oh, the 1 year we had Steven Souza Jr. Gave him a chance, and he just didn't have it anymore. Oh, international superstar Shohei Ohtani, future Chicago Cub. Yes. For the Rockies, Kevin Pillar.
Oh, yeah.
And I've got 2021 rookie stats, rookie stars. It is Evan White from the Mariners and Dylan Carlson for the Cardinals.
Hey, Dylan Carlson. I hope he's a blue chipper, I think.
He's got a chance to be really good. I love it that this guy is finally going home to finish up his career. Andrew McCutchen.
Back where he belongs.
Yes.
And I mean that in a good way, not you're banished to the Pirates. He's a great Pirate.
He's a great Pirate, yeah. When they were good, too.
Yeah.
For the Diamondbacks, when he played with the Diamondback, Eduardo Escobar, or as I like to call him, Mr. Ice Cream Bar. Well, look at this. New Age Performers, Dylan Carlson. It's the Dylan Carlson back.
Got a turtleneck there. Must be cold.
Boyhood photos of the stars. Matt Olson when he was a boy.
I'll be darned.
How cool is that?
Atlanta Brave.
One of the best arms in the Royals rotation, Brad Keller.
Okay.
Another boyhood photos of the star. We have Chris Bubick for the Royals.
Hmm.
Ooh, former All-Star pitcher, pitched in the World Series this year, Aaron Nola.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Base's brother, Austin Nola.
That's right.
Oh, Kansas City Royals went to the Braves, and now I think he's with the Marlins, former Cub, Jorge Soler.
Oh,
1 year,
yes.
5 home runs for the Royals. Hope he finds that again. For the Giants, Wilmer Flores.
Don't know much about
Padre,
him.
Taylor Williams, a man with 2 last names.
Don't trust him.
2021 rookie stars for the Yankees. We have pitcher Albert Abreu, pitcher Miguel Yanguer, and pitcher Nick Nelson. I can say Nick Nelson, can't I? Yes.
Yeah. I'm glad you had that card, not me.
This guy's pretty good and very rich. Mookie Betts for the Dodgers.
Mookie Betts. I think he's going to play second base for the World Baseball Classic, the Americans.
That's interesting. And for the Orioles, we have Austin Hayes. Very good. Well, JJ, that's our show. Next week, we're going to be a little more excited, a little more bounce in our step because pitchers and catchers will have reported.
Oh, it's finally here.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to pop open a nice big bottle of Diet Pepsi and enjoy it. So
You know how to party.
yes, I do. So anyway, thank you for joining us. We do want to thank our guest, Jeffery Phipps. We thank Maxwell for contributing again. And you all have a great one, and we will see you next week.
Bye.